Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Torres and I'm one of the Student Success Advisors at Harlan High School. I'm also the AP coordinator, so you've probably heard from me a time or two about AP exams for your world history class. So I was chatting with Mr. Dean the other day and I happened to mention hey, my family actually founded the city of San Antonio. And since that has to do with world history, because obviously they immigrated here, he wanted me to share that story with you. I do have some notes that I'm going to refer to as I go along because I want to make sure I get all the names and dates correct. So, back in 1730, the King of Spain said, we really need to populate these provinces that we have in like Texas and Louisiana. So, we probably need to send some families there to go populate in the name of the King of Spain, right? So, his homeboy was like, well, you could send some of those folks from the Canary Islands. So everybody knows where Spain is, but there's also off the coast of Africa a set of islands that are under Spanish rule called Las Islas Canarias, or the Canary Islands, right? So they picked some families or had some volunteers from 4 different islands, because it's a group of islands, kind of like Hawaii, right? So it's like a group of islands like that. So the islands are called Lanzarote, Gran Canaria, Tenerife, and La Palma, okay? So some families from those islands got together on a boat, traveled across the Atlantic, and landed in Veracruz, Mexico. Okay, so I actually have a map, right? So here's a little sailboat, right? So 1730 is when they left the Canary Islands, traveled across the ocean, and landed here in Veracruz, Mexico. Then they were forced to travel on foot the rest of the way. So this red line that you can see here, that's the path they had to take all the way through Mexico to get up here into what is now known as the Presidio de San Antonio de Bejar. Okay? So all that way traveled on foot. So by the time they actually got here, it was March 9th of 1731. And that's when they officially signed the decree to establish this territory in the name of King of Spain, San Antonio, the Presidio de San Antonio de Bejar, right? So, a total of 16 families made it all the way here to San Antonio. So, it was actually like 15 nuclear families and then one family that was a group of 4 single men, okay? So, along the way, they kind of had a leader of the group. His name was Juan Leal Goraz. And when they established themselves here in San Antonio, they named him the first mayor or alcalde. So back then, the alcalde was kind of like the mayor / judge, like he was the dude in charge, right? So he was named the first mayor of San Antonio. So I'm actually directly descended from the first mayor of San Antonio, which is pretty cool. So let me make sure I got everything on my notes. So the way that we figured this all out was that one day my dad decided he wanted to do some research into our family's history. So he literally started with birth, death, and marriage records, right? And he just kind of started tracing those back and back and back all the way until he figured out that we were directly descended from a couple of these families that originally settled here in San Antonio. So he's actually the 9th generation descendant. So if you just kind of go back from there all the way up to the top, right? And that would make me the 10th generation. So it's pretty neat. So I know you've heard of San Fernando Cathedral downtown, the real pretty church in Main Plaza. Well, when my ancestors landed here in San Antonio, they actually built that church. Now, it didn't look the way that it looks today when they built it. They actually just built the back part, which is kind of just the rounded portion. But the front part was added on later. So if you were to go downtown to Main Plaza, you have San Fernando Cathedral, and then the San Antonio Courthouse is kind of across the street. Well, in front of the courthouse now, there is a group of statues, and that group of statues was built to recognize all of the different groups that helped to build our city as it's known today. So a few years ago, we had the 300th anniversary of the founding of the city of San Antonio. So my dad was asked to pose for one of those statues, which is like really cool because what an honor to be asked to represent all of these hundreds of people that came before you and all of the hard work that our ancestors did to establish this amazing city. But it's also really cool that I can go downtown and see a statue that looks just like my dad. So we're actually part of the Canary Island Descendants Association, and they were the ones that spearheaded this effort to build these statues downtown. And so there's actually 2 representatives from the Canary Island families in that group of statues. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the story of my ancestors and how they immigrated from some islands off the coast of Africa, which is actually Spain. And honestly, my family has been here now for what'll be 11 generations because my daughter's here. So I just think that's really, really cool to be established in one place for such a long time. So thank you guys for listening to my story. I look forward to working with you in the future. I know a lot of you are going to continue on the AP track, especially. But look, my office is in B100. You guys are welcome to come by anytime. I'm always here to help. Any questions that you have about anything, please come by and see me, okay? It was nice to talk to you guys. Bye.